Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show. Mike, welcome to the Principal Podcast. Happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Let's jump straight into it. What's the story, Mike? Talk to us about Maxx. What is that?
I've been in the roofing business for 40 years, and I started out as a traditional roofing contractor. And after 25 years in the business, my brother and I built one of the larger roofing companies in the country. But it was a traditional roof replacement company. And we realized that there was a real hole in the market for maintenance. And so Maxx is essentially the nation's largest roof maintenance company. One of our products is a maintenance treatment, which is basically putting an oil back in the roof. Think about a leather conditioner. Leather will crack and split when it dries out. Put a leather conditioner on it or skin moisturizer, right? So we're putting a natural oil back into the shingles to make them last longer, make them more pliable, strong, waterproof, and extending the life of it. But we're also doing maintenance, right? We're doing physical maintenance to the roof. Could be caulking around the skylights or chimneys or repairing a missing shingle, whatever. So we do general maintenance, apply the treatment, but we're really kind of a maintenance first, replacement when necessary company. And most contractors today are replacement first. Most of the industry is about replacing because that's the majority of what contractors do.
And so just for us to be crystal clear on the model now, this developed into a franchise now, correct? So there is...
It's not a franchise per se like McDonald's. Okay. We're not officially a franchise. We're a dealer model.
Okay.
So a dealer could be a roofing contractor that wants access to our product because they believe in maintenance. So 80% of our dealers are roofing contractors, 20% are not. They just offer the maintenance side of the business. But most of our partners are full service contractors, but they are maintenance first, replacement when necessary.
Love that. So, it's in the title, but I still need to ask, what's the problem that you solve now? And so there is the end customer, obviously the one with the roof, but through this dealership, what problem do you solve for these roofing companies who believe in maintenance and in the products? What do you help them achieve exactly?
Well, there wasn't a way to maintain a roof in the past other than general maintenance, but there wasn't a treatment to go on the roofs. So we created the world's first treatment. We're partnered with the Soybean Association. Ohio State University was involved in testing. Battelle Labs is the world's largest research and development company, was involved. Ohio Wesleyan University is where Arable Labs is out of. They've been involved and are still involved. I sat on their board. Okay. So we had to create a solution, and that is the treatment that we have marketed and promoted.
Love that. So the problem that you solve is a solution to maintain roofs that roofing companies can develop basically at scale by buying the product from you and then reselling it to their customers. Is that the idea?
Yep. We sell direct to the contractor, not through conventional, typical wholesale. We sell direct to the contractor. They keep it at their facilities. And then when a consumer needs the product, they come out. First we have to come out and qualify the roof. Does it need anything at all? So we have to do kind of a roof health check. Yeah. If it does it just need some basic maintenance, or does it need basic maintenance and the treatment? Yeah. Or does it need none of those? We'll be getting into HUD. So, it's taken a long time. We're almost a decade, not quite a decade into this, but close. Mm-hmm. Anything new takes a long time for acceptance.
100%.
We're now doing treatments for LiveCore, which is the largest real estate investment trust in the country. Roof Management is literally the largest roof asset manager in the world in 19 countries. They endorse our product. But that's taken a long time. We're over 100,000 homes, 250 million square feet treated. So it just takes time.
Love that for you though. Okay, how does one get to this point? So, what has worked for you, Mike, to brand, market, get the attention of those roofing companies, trust into something new, right? And then partner with you up to the point where you sign solar companies with 2,500 employees. What has worked for you marketing wise? I'm not talking about sales just yet, but really branding, marketing, messaging to get
Yeah.
the word out and get in the right conversations.
Yeah. So the hardest part of any business, right? You have to get the metrics and the model right, all the KPIs, but then you have to market. And that's the hardest part. So, early on, we were marketing just to the contractors to find partners. And then over time, we added an international advertising program. And we built that up to our last year. Collectively, between the dealers and corporate, we spent about $20 million in national marketing, putting the brand out, which puts us in front of bigger opportunities, right? People at the government that we're at the table with, they've seen these ads. Maybe they've had their roof treated. Maybe they've seen the vehicles in the neighborhood, right? So it's a slow process, but and that's a never ending, marketing is never ending. But, you start small and you pick up steam and you continue to roll and reinvest in marketing, because I think it's important to, brand is everything.
So I like that. I really want to go deep on this one because building a brand for something new is, something that the audience will learn from 100%. So what was kind of your thought process going into this being like, okay, and roofing companies, skilled trades, right? They can be hard to deal with in the sense of they have their job, they know their industry, and convincing them that a new solution is out and that they should try it and sell it and literally put at stake the trust of their customers is no small ask. Let's put it this way.
Yep.
You correct me if I'm wrong. How do you build that trust in an industry where change is so hard to implement? How did you make it?
So slowly. Early on, going after roofing contractors, being a lifelong roofer, I thought that was the simplest path to the market. And very quickly we had to pivot, and we went after business opportunity seekers because roofers didn't want to touch it. A handful of roofers that I've known across the country did. They knew me, they trusted me and my brother, who's my partner. And but then we went after business opportunity seekers. Today, we have more roofers coming into the space. It's becoming more broadly accepted. There are competitors, which is great. A number of products out there that are doing the same thing. Now, most of our competitors are just a product. We're more than a product. We've got a full suite of services that we're rolling out over time. Right? Annual inspections and maintenance, ongoing maintenance. We're essentially doing the same thing that every sophisticated commercial property owner and manager does, which all commercial property owners and managers have roof asset managers. They manage the asset. Think about an HVAC. 1/3 of the country of homeowners have somebody that comes out every year and inspects and does maintenance to their furnace. 0% of homeowners, or 1/10 of 1% of homeowners, because contractors just don't offer it, have somebody to come out and perform annual inspections and maintenance on their roof. And nearly 8 out of 10 roofs replaced every year could get more years of life without our treatment just by doing nothing. So 8 out of 10 roofs replaced every year. If you just came in and did just some basic maintenance, some caulking around the chimney, replace the rubber gaskets that dry rot, all these simple things, you could get more years out of that roof without the treatment. With the treatment, we can take it out 5 years per treatment, up to 3 treatments. So we can take a roof that's being replaced at 12 years and take it out to 22, maybe 25 years. It's a lot less expensive. There's not the big upfront cost of $20,000, $25,000 for a new roof. Roofs are very, very expensive. So
it's funny because I was going to ask you. So what I hear is you let the product and the quality of the product and the savings from the product talk about it for you. and do the marketing and build the brands slowly but surely. And I was about to ask you about the financials, like what does that mean, right? To maintain instead of replacing a whole roof, because so I'm new to the US. I have no idea how much it costs to replace a roof. I mean, let alone to maintain it. But yeah, so we are talking tens of thousands of dollars to replace, and probably what, a few thousands to maintain, something like this. Is that the idea?
So if we're doing maintenance and a treatment, it's going to be 5,000 if it's on average. And if it's 5,000 on average, the average replacement is 20. So it's going to be about a quarter of the cost of replacement, but you're able to digest that in 5,000, right, every 5 years versus a $20,000 outlay today, right? Or $100 a month versus $400 a month. And, the average person isn't planning on staying in the home for the next 15, 20 years. They're trying to, people are trying to look down the road to next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, especially in today's economy.
Amen to that. Talk to me about sales. So branding, marketing, 20 million in spends. I mean, clearly there is some effort going in there. How do you tie all this to a conversation, a sales conversation, an SOW, a letter of engagement, we rock and roll? All these bearing in mind that we're trying to talk to all sizes roofing companies, right? So I guess you want to get into the room with the CEO, COO, maybe? Is that the right people we're trying to target here?
At a roofing company?
Yeah.
Probably at a roofing company, it's going to be the CEO because, we have a few dealers that are really big that come out of private equity. We don't interface much with the dealer. They're sending in, production teams or whoever we're interfacing with. But the average roofer is going to be that $2 to $5 million guy, could be $10 million.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the owner operator making a decision.
Makes sense. So how do you think about sales motion? How do you go from marketing ready to sales ready to, hey, we rock and roll and we're going to help you maintain more roofs, therefore make more money, build further trust with the community, and overall develop a more sustainable, better, and more profitable business? How does that all look like?
I mean, if we're talking about on the B2B side, where we're bringing in the people, where we have a team that works with them, shows them every step of the way, shows them we've got all kinds of documentation so they can walk through and understand what does the model look like. And then once they would say, I want to be a dealer, then they get onboarded, they go through an onboarding process, Roof Maxx University, all of that. We've got already we have our sales training process, but other companies may come in and say, well, that's not our process. We want to blend that in with our process to dealerships so they can do what they want. We don't try to get people to change their process, their ways of doing things. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. Franchises are very one-sized. As a dealer, we're more flexible to work with a different contractor and what their needs are.
Yeah. I mean, just out of curiosity here, and you tell us how much you feel comfortable saying, but is there a case for approaching PE firms who hold many roofing companies in their portfolios, or not so much?
Like a private equity firm, most likely not. Okay. And that's a long conversation to explain why probably not. But it doesn't fit their model. Most of private equity is they're consolidating and then selling to the next PE firm up the pyramid. There's about 7 stacks to the PE pyramid. The top would be Blackstone, BlackRock, KKR, the companies
Yeah.
all the way down the pyramid. So these companies are acquiring, they're going to flip, and then in 3 to 5 years that fund up to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
It happens again, and they flip it up. So they're not looking at a long-term hold. So you probably don't want to bring in rejuvenation or Roof Maxx into that model, because it's going to take a long time to really get the benefit back from a big organization. But literally overnight, a small contractor, and I'll give an example. One of our dealers was about $3 million roofing company.
Yeah.
one of our first dealers that came on, Truckee Tahoe, out in Lake Tahoe. His first year, no advertising. In like 6-7 months, he upsold $500,000 of roof Maxx treatments without any advertising.
Okay.
When he got a call for a roof leak, he would go out and look at the roof and his team, and then they would say, okay, this could be a good candidate for it. We repair the roof and then also do the treatment. So he immediately had immediate gratification, $500,000 in his first 6 months. Not so easy for a big private equity backed firm with multiple locations. Too many moving pieces.
Super interesting. So I'm just out of an interview with a gentleman who helps home service businesses. And he was explaining that a vast majority of the market is getting bought up by PE firms. So is that
not in roofing?
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, there are, so about 1 out of 3 HVAC companies are owned by private equity.
Yeah.
But that industry has become very mature over the last 20 years. My old partner, Jim Abrams, kind of the GOAT of HVAC, he consolidated and took the first industry public, which is a company, about $1 billion company called Service Experts. He took the HVAC industry, which was very fragmented, very poor quality service, good technicians, but not good service. You know, the whole Michael Gerber E-Myth, if you've ever read that, right? Great technician, not a great business. They didn't have.
I've read it, actually.
Yeah, great book. And so he really took that industry and fundamentally changed it to where it became a very solid full service industry, maintenance first, replacement when necessary, right? Full life cycle, full relationship with the customer, lifetime customer value. And that industry became very mature, very profitable. Technicians started earning 6 figures, right? The roofing industry technicians are still earning $50,000. Mm-hmm. So it's still very fragmented. And we're trying to shift the industry to look more like HVAC. A lot of private equity did come into the roofing space. Some are having success. A lot are having challenges because there's not a recurring revenue model built within the roofing model. That's what we're adding. And so in the storming side, the insurance side, 1 out of 3 roofs just a couple of years ago was replaced by insurance. And the insurance companies are shutting that down. So a lot of those companies are having challenges. Private equity bought a lot of those businesses. They bought bad revenue, very high revenue, high margin revenue. It's very, it doesn't cost a lot of money to acquire a storm job. You're knocking on doors. There's a known event that happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, but no, private equity's definitely entered the space. I think it's good. Private equity will add in rejuvenation and full maintenance services. They absolutely will. They're very smart. They understand how to, the market economics and just how to drive the growth of a business. And it's very hard with kind of a one and done model. Replace a roof, see you in 20 years. It's just not a good business model. Yeah. And maintenance should be as part of it. The entire commercial roofing industry looks like HVAC. The residential industry is as fragmented as it comes.
That's very interesting.
And it's one of the reasons we entered the space. We saw the niche, we saw the need, and that's what we're building. And we're kind of going into another phase of the model, into a second phase.
Smart. I mean, the next question is pretty straightforward in your case, but I'm still curious to hear your thoughts on this. How do you think about retention? Like, so you come in, you talk to a roofing company, they implement your product, and it's just buy on repeat, right? Or do you have like solving the next problem and the next problem and selling some consulting and some of those other services you mentioned that you were helping roofing companies with? How do you think about client retention and making them worth more to you? Not just to make the most out of them possible, not just to make the most possible out of them, but to keep on providing them value and solving their problems. How do you think about that?
I just came off of our weekly Monday call.
Okay.
And every week I jump on with all of the dealers. We do trainings. We do have partners like Roof Coach who also do paid trainings, but we don't charge for any services. We sell a product. We're there to support them. If they don't succeed, we don't succeed. So therefore, we're incentivized to make them succeed.
Mhm.
So we give them all the resources that they can, that they'll take. Now, small business is very difficult, and I was a small business at one point. I started with my dad's ladder, put it on top of my car, and I was in the roofing business, and there's a lot of turnover in small businesses, and actually I saw recent numbers from Tony Robbins. In 2025, I think 50% of all small business startups failed in the first year. It's up from about 25, 30%, because marketing has changed. AI has changed everything. I don't know if you're familiar with what's called the Google zero-click crisis.
Yeah.
It's happening, right? People are getting their information from the overview, not from the landing page, which we spent $20 million driving them to our website so that they can understand our message. Now that message has been hijacked by AI and an overview that is not factually accurate. It's pieces and parts, but it's certainly not the best information. So there's been a lot of changes in the industry, and marketing would be the biggest change in the last 2 years since the beginning, the introduction of the overview, and then last fall with full-scale AI overviews to compete with Blaze and Perplexity and all the new AI search engines.
I like your style, Mike. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball question at you, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
What is your number one challenge? What is the one nut that you're trying to crack that, once you crack with Roof Maxx, you take the whole thing to the next level? What would that be for you?
Continuing to do what we're doing. We're constantly reinventing ourselves as we grow the business, as all businesses have to. So there's not any one thing. I don't see it. We don't have a silver bullet that we're looking for. So we just continue to build the business, build the brand, real basic fundamentals, right? Work hard, offer great service, take care of the customer, really customer centric. We are now over 20,000 online reviews, 4.9 stars. We're the number one rated roofing company in the country based on number of reviews and 4.9 stars. So just more of that, and continue to tell our story, expand the story. As I said, we're adding in some new elements to the business here in 26 that will definitely be realized in 27 with annual inspection and maintenance packages. Replacement will be way down the road, but that will come. Integrated solar will come. Solar is now in the roofing industry where they actually have a roofing. You're out of Europe. Integrated solar is big in Europe. So not a rack system that sits on top of the roof, but the roof itself being solar. Two of the major manufacturers now offer a product. So this to me is about a rooftop relationship and lifetime customer value and just building strong relationships. And that's a lot of work, and it's just a grind every day.
Slowly but surely. How are you thinking? And obviously, so that's the challenge. I get it, and it's not solved yet, which is the whole point of a challenge. I'm interested, and the reason I'm asking this is there will be people listening to this facing the same challenge. And it's always interesting to hear from your peers how they think about solving the problem that you're yourself facing. So as you grow and expand and stay on the constant grind, I see what you mean. How are you thinking about solving that challenge of continuing building the relationships with the right people, the harder and harder people to access to, right, with bigger and larger companies, all this whilst maintaining all the relationships that you have? How are you thinking about this? And if you go into Europe, right, what does that look like? How are you thinking about that, Mike?
Well, AI is one of the biggest game changers, and we are fully committed in rolling out. We have agents now, fleets of agents. Our customers, when they call, more than not, it is an agent that answers the phone, takes their information. I believe that we're not probably a year away from people being able to call in and get a ballpark quote for a roof replacement. Just quick. You just need to, you're selling your home and you need to know very quickly. You can call 800 Roof Maxx, have a conversation with an AI agent, give them your address. Boom, based on this information, it's roughly, you're going to be in the $22,000 range. Would you like me to send you a soft quote? Yeah, just send me a ballpark. Of course, I can't give you a firm quote. I haven't put boots on the roof. I haven't dropped the tape on the roof, right? So, but that level of access to information for the consumer, I think changes everything. We're coming up with a roof health score, which will be a 60-second score based on environmental factors, based on the age of your roof, based on tree overgrowth, storms in the area, all of this, where somebody in 60 seconds can come to our website, put in their information, and we will give them a score on 1 to 100. People just want to know, what is the general condition of my roof? Now, of course, that's AI. Until we put boots on the roof, we just don't know, right? We have to physically come out and do an on-site inspection. But those type of tools are what people want today. And AI makes it possible. Also, staying in touch with the customer, staying in touch with our dealers, staying in touch with reaching out to get on podcasts, to do marketing, whatever the case may be. So I think utilizing AI in a smart, streamlined way does change the business environment. And I'm very excited about it, as much as I'm scared of it for all the obvious reasons. It's here, so leverage it.
Amen to that. Mike Feazel, ladies and gentlemen. Mike, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
I just go to roofmaxx.com, 2 X's, roofmaxx, maxx.com.
We will put all the links in the description. And I can say one thing for sure, it's that you've gained at least one new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview, Mike. Me, I've just added you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the Principal Podcast.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.
How